There you are. Welcome back to the latest installment of the most disturbing TikToks on the internet today. Remember, these videos are strictly for entertainment purposes only. Let's dive in.
We've seen redonkulous things, right? So we go down to Chiapas, Mexico. We're rescuing kids down there. I mentioned that one that portaled through Zoom from Chiapas, right? So there's all kinds of next level demonic witchcraft, next level witchcraft down there. And so things that manifest, you go, whoa, what is that? I never even heard of like a hybrid spider type person. And that's why all these kids say, man, she looks like a spider. She has many arms. Well, of course, if you go into India, you got all kinds of gods and deities that have multiple arms. The largest Mayan pyramid on the planet Earth is in Chiapas. We are rescuing children in the shadow of that thing. You can literally see the pyramid from my ranch.
Wow. From your ranch?
Yeah. We have a redemption ranch there.
Wow.
And again, we bought turf. We bought physical dirt. We brought in a ministry that's been there for 9 generations. We turned the whole thing over there so that we would have authority within that region. Okay. You don't just come in there swinging the American flag. You come in there in the authority of the kingdom, and you need to know how to operate in authority. So with all that said, we did all this. And at our hotel, there's this big giant rock that has a giant footprint in it. And it's monstrous. I went down there with Brian Schwartz. He's an NFL football player. He wears a size 17 shoe. Okay. This thing was twice the size of his shoe. I hear that you guys got giants down here. And they're like, yeah, we do. And like, okay, well, would they come up out of the ground? Or are they going to, like, yeah, they live in the ground. And they're like, but that's not as scary as the ones that come out of the sky. And I'm like, the ones that come out of the sky, and they said yes, and they come down and they look like stars and constellations, and they manifest into what look like people, and they threaten us if we don't give them things.
Wow.
So it's like, I know that there's a species of angels that's called the host of heaven. The host of heaven is the constellations. So you can see that whenever Jesus was born, that the shepherds are out in the field, the angels came down as the host of heaven. Well, they were used to seeing those constellations every single night, and they were used to seeing Virgo, the virgin, a clump of stars that is a virgin that has a seed in her, which is impossible. And then from there, Libra, he's going to be a redeemer. From there, Scorpio, he's going to take on death. From there, Sagittarius, he's going to raise from the dead. And it ends at the line of the tribe of Judah, Leo, which is the ecliptic. And so I'm into all that, right? They knew the story in the heavens. The angels that showed up were as those constellations. They're also known as the stars of God. They're also known as the stars. I can guarantee you some of those have fallen. Some of those have rebelled. And they show up down there. The stars come down, they manifest, and all kinds of craziness happens.
Speaking of fallen angels, do we have one petrified right here?
This fallen angel statue might be the creepiest discovery I've heard of in a hot minute. I can see why they hushed this one up. It was found in Siberia by a group of Russian coal miners back in January 2023. They were digging deep and uncovered this massive, evil-looking angel statue with a huge wingspan, and the details are insane. It looks so real, it's almost kind of disturbing to look at. Honestly, some of the finest stonework anyone's seen anywhere. Almost like it's not even a statue, but a being frozen in stone, which is exactly what they're claiming it is, an actual petrified fallen angel. The miners stand next to it, showing how enormous the angel is, still towering over them, and the statue is also on its knees. And they all claim they felt a weird energy they couldn't explain when they were around it, then reported it to government authorities, who airlifted it off site with a chopper and allegedly deemed it to be about 10,000 years old. But what was really peculiar about the statue is that its clothes weren't made from the same stone material as the angel figure wearing them, but were actual fabric cloaks encased in stone, which is just odd. Who or why or how would anyone put real clothes on a statue? Perhaps because it wasn't a statue to begin with. Rumors went around claiming it to be an actual fallen angel imprisoned in stone and buried deep within the earth, which Bible verses do kinda talk about God casting angels out from heaven into the depths of the earth in chains of gloomy darkness to be kept until judgment day. And if anyone were to ever find something deep underground, it would be Russia. They're no strangers to digging deep holes, with the Soviet Union digging the deepest man-made hole in history, the Kola Super Deep Borehole, a project that lasted over 20 years, from 1970 to 1994, reaching a depth of 12 kilometers before they stopped due to the extreme heat, reaching temperatures of up to 180 degrees Celsius, which is a little hot for heaven if you know what I mean. insane. Even The Simpsons called it years earlier in an episode where they also uncovered a fallen angel statue. But hey, The Simpsons were never right about anything, right? Because once again, if you do 5 seconds of Google searching on the matter, you'll find out that apparently all of this was just a hoax. That the miners had to come out and admit they took a statue that was just lying around and decided to shoot this video to fool the world. And for the common, simple-minded Google debunker, that's enough to unquestionably lay this to rest, label it a myth, and get angry with anyone who dares question it. But for those of us that don't treat the top search results of Google as the ultimate truth of the world and can actually think for ourselves, we ask, did the Russian government cover this up after finding out what it really was? Forcing the miners and the heads of their company to publicly announce it was a hoax to detract attention from a truly unexplainable find. Because no follow-up pics or videos or any info about this statue at all has come out since they allegedly took it in for study. Regardless of whether it actually is a fallen angel or not, we can all agree it is some damn impressive stonework. Why wouldn't they elaborate more on the jaw-dropping nature of the statue, where it came from, who made it, and where it is now? Like, this is some museum-worthy shit. And why exactly is a world-class statue like this just laying around in a random Siberian coal mine? Nothing about this makes any sense. No new information has come out about the statue since these Russian miner videos went viral, other than the fact that it was all a hoax and there's nothing more to see here. But no, it's Russia. They would never lie to the world, and we should totally believe everything they have to say because, well, Google told us to. This fallen angel statue might be the creepiest discovery.
I think there's definitely more to this fallen angel statue than they're telling us. This should definitely be in a museum like they said. Why they're not showing it, I have no idea.
It's Nephilim. It is DNA manipulation. And the whole thing of end times DNA manipulation is as it was in the days of Noah. So as it was in the days of Noah, like what was going on? Well, the only person that came straight from Adam, and that by the time that Noah was around, was, it says Noah was perfect in all of his generations. He was genetically perfect. He hadn't been contaminated by all these dark and demonic forces that manifested in all kinds of different ways. He was perfect, and he was generationally perfect. That's what the word of God says. He was perfect in all of his generations. Well, just exactly like that, there's this plan. One of the ways that Nephilim manifests, as you know, the giants that were in the days of Noah, the Nephilim, the Crimea, those kinds of things, they don't just manifest in the giant on the ridge or the manifest in the hairy creature in the woods or the skinwalker or whatever. They hide in God-king bloodlines. They hide in generation in bloodlines. Now, there's always been a seed war. Genesis chapter 3 describes a seed war. The first of 400 messianic promises of King Jesus. Genesis chapter 3 is describing it's 3:15. There's always going to be a war between our seed and your seed. And then you go over into the book of Daniel. He says, hey, the head is as gold, the shoulders are as silver. It goes down to brass, and it gets down to iron and clay mixed. And it says this whenever he interprets it in the book of Daniel, and their seed shall mix with yours. It's talking about at the end times, that mixing of the seed's going to be a big priority. So if it's transgender, if it's transhuman, it's all about trans, which is transgression.
Wake your ass up. I'm gonna go there. I'm there. Let me know why you come down here and push your ass. Wake your ass up.
Okay, for no games. Russian scientists find something while exploring the deep ocean. Oh yeah? Let's take a closer look. Looks like some type of reptilian type creatures were spearfishing deep underwater. He exposed how the system keeps you broke.
I have friends, advisors, and business associates who say I should not tell you this. But this information is important, and I think you should know it. So in school today, we're focused on a thing called SAT, or Scholastic Aptitude Testing. We want to find out how good you are at reading, writing, and arithmetic. Very important skills. And depending on how well you do with SAT, the next thing they focus on is professional aptitude testing, whether you should be a doctor, a lawyer, fire chief, secretary, or whatever. It's a professional training. But what school fails to focus on or train people on is a thing what I call financial intelligence. We never discuss the subject of money in schools. So what do I mean by financial intelligence? Well, if we gave $10,000 to 100 people, 80 of them, or 80%, would have nothing left at the end of a year. 16% with the same $10,000 might have $10,050, what you would get by putting it in a bank. And 4%, given that same $10,000, would have anywhere from $20,000 to $1 million or more. And that's what I mean by financial intelligence. So when we go to school, we learn to read these things, but we never learn to read these, financial statements or annual reports. We never learn financial literacy in school. I have friends, advisors, and
It's almost like they want you trapped.
Nobody talks about waking up in the Matrix and then still having to deal and live inside the Matrix while believing and knowing that all of it is fake. And I'm not going to lie, that's been one of the hardest freaking things on this journey, on this spiritual awakening and this awakening that I've been going on for the last 5 years. My health, my mental, my spiritual, everything. And it's really taxing on the system when you realize everything is fake, from the TV to the politicians to the jobs to the money to the power to the government to literally everything that's out there. It's all fake, and it's all a system rigged against us, and it's all fake. The medicine, the agriculture, the school system, literally everything is all fake. But the problem is when you wake up inside the Matrix and you understand that everything is all fake, you realize that it's all so fake and it goes so deep that you cannot still avoid it. You still have to be in the Matrix and apply and be inside of it, knowing that it's fake. Because here's the thing, you still got responsibilities, you still got bills, you still got kids to pay, you still got kids to raise, you still got food to get, you still got to do all the regular things that everybody else still has to do while knowing that it's all fake. So I don't know if you're going through this like I am, but if you are, you understand how difficult this part is to know that you have a higher soul, you have a higher power, you are part of a higher power, and you're here in this simulation or artificial matrix or whatever this thing is, and you have to participate it because you're in it and it stretches so deeply that you can't just step out of it because you just can't do that. I mean, I guess you could go live by yourself in isolation, you know, out in the woods or up on a mountain or something, but that's not real life. And it's such a really weird spot to be, because like literally everything that you knew and loved and was literally like crumbles right in front of you. But then you realize that you still have to participate in the thing that you know right now is not real. And it's very difficult on my soul to do that. So if this is happening to you and you're going through this too, just know you're not alone. There's others out there like you. Nobody talks about waking up in the Matrix and then still having...
Man, what an amazing point. It's almost like you have to get some land and, you know, build you a greenhouse, live off the land, build you a nice little house. You know, that might be one way to escape it. Or you have to operate like Neo out here within the Matrix. But that drains so much mana, I don't know. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. How can you escape the Matrix? If you thought I didn't have another excellent specimen for you today, think again. All right, you guys see it. Rhodiocorsite and fluorite. Man, drop what you guys would name this in the comments below. What would you guys name this specimen? We can see like the pink looking seashells emerging from this like purplish, lavender, bluish. It is changing colors on us. Almost like a ocean floor with pink seashells. If I had to name this one, I would go with Enchanted Ocean Floor. That's the best I got. What would you guys name this?
In my opinion, over this past weekend, Julian Brown just made history. So over the weekend, the 22-year-old did something and accomplished it, the same something that others have tried but have failed. His historic accomplishment was, over the weekend, he made a Dodge Charger Scat Pack run on plastiline. Not gasoline, plastiline. And if you haven't seen the historic moment, take a look at this.
Plastiline!
Plastiline.
2023 Scat Pack right here. It's on E. She's gonna try to start it to show we got no fuel in this thing.
Watch.
Everybody, move back.
Let's start. That thing is on E.
Move back. It ain't starting up.
Here we go. History in the making, baby.
Exactly.
Plastiline.
Okay. I think that's it.
Need a drum roll.
That's it. All right, it's empty.
You ready?
Hey, are you scared?
I am.
No. Have some faith.
Have some faith. Exactly. I love this. It started. That thing started. That is historic. That is incredible. This man is an inventor, a genius. So he rolled the dice and created 110 octane gasoline, converted out of plastic waste. His reasoning behind this historic invention was because he claimed that people are sick and tired of waiting for the government to come up with an alternate fuel solution. So once again, a historic weekend. This young man is a genius, an inventor, a creator. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. And as always, I'd love to hear from you.
It's great to see him. Wasn't he missing for a while? It's great to see him that he's back in action.
This is Ethan Go, the kid who was arrested and detained for over 6 weeks for flying over Antarctica. Now, Ethan was attempting to become the first person to fly over all 7 continents, and he was doing this for charitable reasons. He was trying to raise money for charity. And after he flew over Antarctica, he was arrested and detained without any sort of reasoning whatsoever. Now, what's interesting about this story is we have been telling you guys that you can't go independently explore Antarctica or you'll be met with military, you'll be arrested like Ethan was, because they are hiding what's truly beyond the ice wall of Antarctica. And Ethan found this out the hard way. Spending 6 weeks detained with very little food, his health seriously declined, heart swole up, and the authorities would not let him go because they believed that he saw too much. Now, I want you guys to listen to this interview of the last man who ever explored Antarctica and exactly what he had to say.
Explored land left on this earth that might appeal to adventurous young Americans?
Yes, there is. And not up around the North Pole because it's getting crowded up there now because they find out it's really usable, not only to live in, but militarily. But strangely enough, there's left in the world today an area as big as the United States that's never been seen by a human being. And that's beyond the pole on the other side of the South Pole from Middle America.
Now, what's super interesting about this is directly after Admiral Byrd's expedition of Antarctica, the Antarctic Treaty was formed. This is the only time in human history where every single country has come together, put aside all of their differences, and said that we cannot go independently explore this place or you'll be met with military, you'll be arrested, you can't go explore here. Every single country in the world, all these countries that are at war with each other and all this stuff, nope, not here. It's all good. A place of peace. This is the Antarctic Treaty flag. And you'll notice that there's 12 sections, 12, 12, 12, and 12. Well, 1 + 2 = 3. This is how they subliminally put this in your face. The elites and the Freemasons like to use the 33rd degree, subliminal messages to tell you that they're the ones controlling everything. They do not want you to explore what's beyond Antarctica. Now, when you start to look at old maps of the world, it starts to make sense because Antarctica is actually a 360-degree ice wall that contains all of our oceans. It's the ice wall, and there's lands beyond the ice wall. Listen to what Mr. Beast had to say here.
Wait, have you ever been to Antarctica? Yeah. Do you believe in the ice wall?
Yeah, I saw the ice wall.
Well.
Yeah,
Watch his body language.
I can't say on stream. No way, but
Can't say on stream about what he saw, eh? Truth to everything is...
That is absolutely crazy. I wonder what Mr. Beast had to say about the Antarctic ice wall.
So this country in Antarctica,
what about it?
How long has it been there? Why doesn't anybody know about this?
Buddy Agarthia is at least 10,000 years old. Look, when we first encountered the continent, they were already there, right? There's really no definitive way to measure how long they've existed, but look, obviously the highest ranking intelligence authorities are well aware of this place, okay? And the restrictive Antarctic treaties are the reason nobody else is. Look, the Agarthians, they don't want us in. They live within a city built on inconceivably complex architecture, okay, pyramid-based energy systems that are reminiscent of ancient Egypt. Look, things we don't understand. We do believe that they have trade routes which lead through and beyond the ice wall, okay, connecting them to civilizations far out into the depths of the unknown lands, right? They are the bridge to a world which we have been closed off from, okay? They control the entire goddamn parameter of the ice wall. We've been studying them for decades to the best of our abilities, but it wasn't enough, and so, well, the CIA did the unthinkable, right? They captured a native Agarthian.
You're saying none of us are actually from Earth?
Not the Earth you think you know. The 7 continents we live on aren't our birthplace. They're a containment zone, a prison sealed off by the ice wall.
A prison for who?
For us. We're descendants of people who once lived beyond the wall, civilizations so advanced and defiant they couldn't be controlled. So long ago, someone made a decision: isolate them, populate these continents with carefully selected descendants, erase their memories, erase their origins.
You're saying we are not natives here?
Exactly. We were placed here. Richard Constantine orchestrated what's called the Great Placement. He found these untouched lands inside the ice wall and realized they could serve as the perfect cage. But how do you populate entire continents? Embryos. He harvested them from the ancestral lands, raised the first generation just enough to survive, then released them, let them believe they were inventing fire, tools, agriculture, when it was all designed.
So, all of human history is staged?
Absolutely, and for my safety, it is just for entertainment purposes.
So you're saying none of us...
You see the shape of these windows, circular. You see the shape of these windows, circular, very important, not square, circular or oval, etc. And we start seeing very obvious magnetron-shaped windows. And once you know that light and sound are inextricably connected, if you send light through a magnetron shape, it will create a magnetron effect.
Demonstrations and experiments to perform by gluing a mirror on the end of a tuning fork. If you shine a laser light on the mirror and then wiggle it around when it's struck, you'll notice that you get the sine curve. That's right, the tuning fork is vibrating in a sinusoidal pattern. Combining 2 tuning forks and pointing them at perpendicular angles, you can generate the original Lissajous figures.
Alright, let me show you my experiment. I got a laser pointer pointing at a balloon which has a speaker in it, and then I got a mirror on the balloon which vibrates and it's reflecting the laser pointer onto the wall. Let's run it. Alright, I'm going to play a frequency and see what it does. Nice, nice. Alright, let's put another one on top of that. What?
And so hopefully the spirit of goodness will survive.
Is it possible that the angels use some type of horn sound wave to build these ancient pyramids is what I'm starting to think. I mean, cathedrals.
Of the light and amplified because it's in the shape of a magnetron. It's spectacular. So the light from outside goes through the magnetron structures into the church, into the cathedral. It amplifies it because the cathedral is just an ambient chamber. And now you got this magnetron amplification of the light that shoots out the spires and through the top of the cathedral. It's like laser transfer. You can take the information of an egg from a salamander or a lizard. You put a laser beam through a fertilized lizard egg and you point the laser at the infertile frog egg and the frog will become a lizard. The light takes the information and deposits it from one to the other. That's what happens. The light comes in through the window, takes the information of the light and amplifies it inside the chamber. Magnetron-shaped windows in cathedrals is suddenly a dead giveaway that this is very, very advanced technology. that we're only waking up to now.
We are in danger, says Elon Musk. He says we're all going to be by 2026. So this is meant to be the AI Atlas close-up. Brother, is that a dinosaur? Elon Musk, he says this could be the first contact with humans. I don't know about all that, but I know something's going on. But Bill Nye, he issues a serious warning himself. He says the comet has changed course. It's now heading towards Mars. Oh, you son of a conehead. Just listen to what they're saying. Scientists fear that the 7-mile object that is racing to Earth with unknown intentions should be arriving in November. So let me see if I got this straight. You're trying to tell me at this time next month, the world is going to be taken over by aliens? But let me tell you this. Anyhow, you're wrong. Anyhow. I don't want to hear anything come out of your mouth again. I don't want to hear nobody tell me anything. From the media, the news, I don't want to hear nothing. If I don't see aliens next month, oh, I got your ass. We are in danger.
Are they trying to prepare us for something or what? Did he really say that?
Is an object that they are calling 3I Atlas passing through our solar system right now. And apparently it just passed Mars. Now, most people hear that and they just think about a rock floating around in deep space. Some people even think it could be a spacecraft. Oh no, the aliens are coming. But what if it's neither? What if it's a mirror? What if it is a reflection of an internal process within us, within the collective? Because if everything in the sky, if everything in the external world is a reflection of the internal world, if it is consciousness, perception that collapses the infinite quantum probability waves of the universe into physical particles with defined states, if the universe is mental and the mind is all, then this 3I Atlas object isn't something that is out there. It is something that is in here. At least it started in here first, and out there is the projection of it. It's a symbol of a hidden truth that is rising to the collective consciousness. At least that's what I think. Because that's the law. As within, so without. The universe is mental. The mind is the foundation of all things. What we see out there is the same principle that exists in here, but
that's all we got for today's video. If you made it this far, the code word is Matrix. Go ahead and drop Matrix in the comments below. When you do that, that lets me know you're a real one. You made it all the way through the end of the video and you really rock with your boy. I just want to say thank you for your support. This was the most disturbing videos on the internet today. See you tomorrow.